Hello, everybody. So glad you could join us. I am Johara. This is on my channel, The Witchy Reader. And I have this lovely guest, an indie author, Alyssa. I don't want to say your last name wrong.
Alyssa Louttit.
Okay. I thought I was saying it wrong. I was saying it like Louttit.
Don't feel bad. Literally every teacher I ever had pronounced it the exact same way.
Oh, really? Okay.
There's dozens and dozens of people who have mispronounced my last name in far worse ways. So it's just how it is.
So, Louttit?
Louttit.
Okay. Just want to make sure I didn't want to butcher your last name. I've had people say my first and last name wrong too, so I know how it feels. So we are going to be talking about Alyssa's current series she's been working on, the Tower of Memories, right? That's what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to say a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I mean, hi, I'm an indie author who started writing books in high school when I was around 14. So I've been kind of in and out of writing and publishing from around that age. So I have a bit of experience at this point, and Tower of Memories is my current big project.
Nice. You ready to jump into the questions?
Sure.
Okay. There are 20 questions. So question number 1 is, what's your WIP about? If it's a sequel, you can talk about the overall story, including previous books.
Okay, so Tower of Memory. So I'm currently working on Tower of Memories book 3. I have books 1 and 2 over here. And the third one is basically about... So we've spent a couple of months with Seraphina So Tower of Memories is about a teenage girl going to a magical boarding school. And her various misadventures there, because they've sent her to magical school, but she can't really cast because of reasons. So that's kind of causing problems, as you would expect. So yeah, first arc is basically just getting us settled into the school. Second one is trying to figure out what is happening and how we got here. And the third one is basically about a parent weekend, essentially, and all of the chaos and drama that comes from that, because as well as being a parent weekend, it's also kind of a high school reunion equivalent for Seraphina's mom, who is there, and it's causing all kinds of problems. I mean, but the best ones, I guess.
Nice. Sounds interesting. Question number 2. What is your MC like?
Seraphina is a teenager. So she's 15 when we first meet her. She just turned 16 at the start of book 3. And there's a lot going on with her, I would say, as you would expect for a main character, but how do I phrase this? How did I phrase this down here? I have notes, I promise. She's always kind of walking this balance of, she doesn't like people, but she's also highly empathic and wants to get along with people. So she's just like constantly in internal war with herself, just like, I should walk away, but also I can't just let problems happen.
Interesting. Yeah. That's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever really seen that.
I promise it makes more sense like in the text, but yeah, that's
it's unique. I like it. Interesting. Question number 3. What are your other important characters like?
There's a bunch of other important characters, so I'm going to narrow it down to so each dorm situation in this boarding school is named after a different creature. So the one Seraphina is currently in is called Dragon Tower. So when I say other dragon students, I mean the others that are basically her roommates now. So One of them is Fethris Nightcall, and he's probably the most chill out of the bunch, which isn't saying a lot, considering the dude talks to centipedes, and he can convince them to do things for him, like terrify other students. And that's the chill one. Then you have Celica, who's like, she's kind of like a play off the high maintenance popular girl. You know, she's playing in the sports team. She spends a lot of time on her appearance. But she's also a 6 foot tall half elf girl who's, you know, like grayish blue. And her ability, her main spell you see her use is her ability to copy herself. So she makes like another version of herself who acts like the world's most preppiest hairdresser.
Interesting.
Another one is Russell Kingsley, and he's training to be a necromancer and speak to dead people, because that's just a choice you can make when you're 15 in this world.
Nice.
And he likes to have like skulls do his bidding, like send messages to people and stuff. So like they'll be hanging out in Dragon Tower, and then a floating magical skull that's glowing orange will pop up and try to deliver messages when he gets himself into trouble occasionally.
Fun. Necromancers can be fun to write. I have a necromancer in my story.
Yeah, he's great. And the last one is Jarek Quicksilver. And so his things that he likes to do is he's the most experienced in telepathy out of the bunch. And he also has a habit of making things and bringing them almost to life, kind of. He has a little like pet origami dragon that vomits confetti at people. It's great.
Very unique abilities over here. So is it like everyone has like a different ability?
Well, everyone has just base magic, and these are just things that they kind of learned how to do, you know, living their life for the past 15 years before Seraphina meets them. Like, theoretically, anyone could do what they do. These guys are just the only ones who chose to do these things.
Interesting. Question number 4.
We see a lot of characters use some amount of telepathy and stuff, but not to the extent that Jarek tends to.
All right. Yeah, sounds cool. Question 4. If your MC has a love interest, what is their dynamic like?
Seraphina doesn't have a love interest at all. Boys and dating is just not a thing she's interested in. She has bigger concerns. Like the fact that she'll occasionally bleed green out of her wrist because of a curse, but, you know, it's fine.
That definitely sounds fine. Nothing to worry about over here.
Nope, everything's fine.
Well, I'm all for, you know, the MC not having a big love interest. I think romance can be overrated a bit.
It's a YA fantasy, so I'm like, it just felt like it didn't feel right when I was writing Seraphina. It's just like, this is not a character that is interested in dating, so we're just gonna not bother.
That sounds about right. Number 5. Who, despite the love interest, is closest to your MC? What is their dynamic like?
I would say Seraphina is, at this point, is probably closest to her father out of everyone in her life right now. Because, you know, she's surrounded by all of these people with these weird magical powers that she's not used to seeing and stuff. Because she grew up in human world. She grew up in our world, basically. She's just kind of dumped herself into the school, so it's a lot of new. And Seraphina doesn't really like new all that much. And her dad is like the only person she feels like actually understands her at a very basic level.
Nice. At least she has him to help her through this big change.
The way I kind of describe it is her mom is like the physical protector because she's the one with the magical powers, where her dad's more focused on emotional well-being. Nice. And that's just kind of how their family works, and it's cute.
I like that change. You don't see it very often, you know?
Well, it doesn't make sense for the dad to be the protector when the mom has magical powers.
True.
He doesn't. He's just a dude. He's just a normal chemistry professor.
He's just a dude. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, question 6. What's your world like? Is it similar to our world? Is it different? How so?
Well, I mean, it's basically our world. It's just, well, the year in the books is 2018, because I'm kind of writing with like the stuff that happened in 2019 onwards just didn't, because it's a fantasy book and I can do what I want. So it's basically our world, except there's a place that's hidden with magic. It's basically like Themyscira, the Amazon islands, except it's full of magical people and elves and stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Nice. So you said she was dumped in this world. So is it like low fantasy, something like Harry Potter, where it's like there's our world and there's this corner off that's their world, and it's like the worlds are kind of intertwined, but not at the same time?
Yeah, it's pretty similar to that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sounds interesting. Number 7. If you write fantasy, what's your magic system?
Okay. Magic system is kind of fun. So it's, whether or not someone has magic is a pretty simple yes or no question. It just kind of happens sometimes. They don't really have an answer as to why. It's just some people got weird magical powers. Not everybody knows about that. And it's color-based. So everyone has like a specific color that is their color that is unique to them, which helps you identify who did things. And when you're young and still in training and you're a kid, like most of my cast are, you have one color, but when you become an adult and you get more powerful, it changes to a different color that stays that way for the rest of your life. Kind of like losing your baby teeth, in a way.
Yeah, nice. Question 8. Do you like to write major plot twists?
I love plot twists. I love plot twists and foreshadowing. They're some of my favorite bits to write.
Yeah, they can be a lot of fun.
They're wonderful, because I have a few that I'm working on, and they're going to be great.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
Well, one of them I'm playing a very long game with, so it'll be.
I love those, like because the ones that you're not going to say for a while, you can add those little foreshadowing bits, which is so much fun, especially when you go back to reread it and then you catch things you didn't catch the first time because now you know the plot twist. Those are so fun to detect.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be awesome if I can nail this right. So yeah, there's a character we meet in book 1 very early on, and they have a really big plot twist connected to them that isn't going to get revealed till like book 6. I'm just gonna sit here and just cackle while I like sprinkle hints about it throughout the rest of the books.
Nice. Yeah, those are always so much fun. Question 9. What tropes are in your WIP?
I don't know. It's just got a bunch of stuff in it. I'm not sure if there's like a specific list of tropes that work with this anymore.
That's fine, yeah. Tropes can be overrated sometimes and overused.
Well, I mean, it's hard because I'm just writing what feels right, and then I look at like the list of common tropes for the genre. I'm like, that's not in this. That's not in this. That's definitely not in this.
Just write what comes to you.
Yeah.
Number 10. What themes are in your WIP?
There's a few that I really like. One of them is kind of making peace with the past. You know, a lot of things that happened before Seraphina was born is kind of coming back to bite her now, and she has to figure out a way to kind of deal with it and settle those particular ghosts once and for all. And another one is finding kind of an inner peace and balance with yourself, because, well, I mean, Seraphina has one magical parent and one non-magical parent, and she's kind of like, do I have to choose? I'm not really comfortable in either one. What am I going to do here?
It's like she's in between worlds.
Yeah. And obviously with it being, you know, a book about a bunch of teenagers, there's always the, you know, growing up is hard kind of thing.
Yeah. That comes with the turf of writing teenagers.
Yeah.
Number 11. What was your inspiration for your WIP?
It's kind of hard to say. It's not really so much inspiration, more is just I started getting like vague feelings and thoughts and images, and then I kind of stitched them together, and now I have a bunch of books.
Yeah, I always hear that question, and a lot of times I can't even think of a response because it's like I just come up with this idea randomly. Like I don't even know what inspired it half the
Yeah,
time.
I mean, I was just doing stuff around my house, and I was like, like a room bathed in candlelight with red and browns everywhere, and ghosts and spooky noises. And then the walls start to bleed a little bit and things get weird. And a bunch of teenagers were involved. And I'm like, okay, let's see. And now I have books.
Number 12. Are you a plotter, a pantser, or somewhere in between? If your WIP is a part of a series, how much do you have mapped out for it?
I would say I'm like right in between. Like I have like the big plot points more or less planned out, but how we get there is kind of up to the characters.
That's pretty much how I am too.
It kind of feels like planning a road trip. Like, okay, we know we have to stop here for lunch, or we're going to stop here, and we know we have to be, at the hotel at the end by this time. But, sometimes you may have to make an emergency rest stop or two.
True. And sometimes something you didn't even see can happen, and sometimes it can even change the course of your story. Like that's currently happening with me.
I mean, there's been a couple of derailments, but nothing like massive that's like altered the main plot elements. So hopefully that stays the same, but it might change.
Yeah.
Change is good.
So you let your characters decide, like it just comes out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice. Number 13. Who's your favorite character to write in your WIP? If it's your MC, then who is the second?
Out of all of the characters, I would have to say a character I have that's called Red by the other characters because we don't actually know her name. Because she's basically just shows up for a few seconds, says something weird, ominous, and kind of foreshadowing, and then blips out.
Sounds like a fun character.
Right? I mean, she just shows up, probably does a little bit of trolling for the MC, says something mysterious, and then leaves.
Intriguing.
Yeah. So she's just always a blaster, right?
I bet. Sounds like it. Number 14. What's the dynamic like between your MC and villain? If it's not fantasy, then the main character towards your MC.
Well, technically she hasn't met the antagonist yet. She has opinions on him, but she hasn't met him yet.
Oh. So she knows of him.
Well, yeah, the mild spoilers, but the reason Seraphina can't cast spells is because she's cursed. And she does eventually find out who cursed her, and and that's obviously the antagonist, so she's like, ugh, you're the guy that ruined my life. But I don't think he knows she exists at this point. So that's kind of complicated.
Yeah, sounds like it. Number 15. Without being too spoilery, what was your favorite scene to write in your WIP so far?
There's a scene. Well, technically not my WIP, but in book 2, there's a scene I really love where, as far as we can tell, a character has died. And that was, lots of fun to write.
Yeah, just kill them characters. That's why we have a lot of them. We have spares.
Yeah. And I mean, this is also a world where like ghosts and undead things are like a factor. So, death doesn't have to be the end.
True. Number 16. Yeah, 16. If you're writing a series, do you like ending on cliffhangers? Do you plan to end on a cliffhanger in your current WIP?
Well, I mean, being a series, there is a sense of like, wait, what happens next? Obviously, because that's half the point. But I do like giving at least some semblance of closure, like, okay, we did this bit. Now what's the next bit? So it's kind of a cliffhanger, I guess. Because there's always going to be, you know, more questions to ask and more things to learn at the end of each of these books until we get to the end.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Question 17. What's the scene you write in your WAP that you're excited for that you haven't gotten to yet?
I would say the scene I'm most excited to write that I haven't gotten to yet is probably the reveal of Red's true identity and what's been going on with her. I mean, we're not going to get there for a while, but it's going to be awesome when we get there if I've done it right. Hopefully I have. We'll find out later.
Sounds exciting. Yeah, I'm a little curious about that character. It will be an exciting scene to read for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Question 8. Oh, sorry, what?
No, you're good.
Question 18. What's your favorite thing to write about? A certain type of scene like fight scenes or romantic scenes and so on?
I would say, well, I kind of call them like campfire scenes. It's basically where all of like the main characters who are involved in the plot or in an event that just happened just kind of sit in a room together and talk it out and be like, that was a crazy thing that just happened or that we just learned. And they all kind of bounce back and forth off each other and kind of like process. So
yeah, those scenes are always fun.
Yeah.
Question 19. What do you love most about your WIP and the series overall?
If I had to choose, if I must choose, I would probably say the dynamic that's developing between Seraphina and Dragon Tower itself. Because she has complicated feelings about it at first that become less complicated over time, but due to its involvement in certain things, it's messy. Because Dragon Tower is basically a character itself. Because I mean, it's a sentient dorm room that talks sometimes, and there's a giant statue outside that's probably alive. Maybe it moves.
Sounds interesting. Yeah, your series sounds intriguing. I might have to check it out at some point once I can. Yeah. I'm broke currently.
It's on Kindle Unlimited if you have that.
Oh, I don't, but my mom does. But yeah, it sounds interesting. I might have to check it out at some point. Doing these author interviews, I keep saying, "Oh my gosh, this sounds so good! I'm gonna have to get to it eventually." Once I do get money, I'm going to be broke again soon after, because I'm going to be spending it all on these books. Okay, this is last question, question 20. What are you most excited for readers to read once it's published?
In book 3, I would say the thing I'm most excited for is for readers to kind of, well, so far with Seraphina's mother, she's been pretty much, she's a character who wears masks a lot, right? So we haven't really seen the real her. We've seen a version of her, the her she wants her daughter to see, but this is a brand new scenario for all of them. So it's going to, you know, probably shift those family dynamics forever as, you know, Seraphina learns some things about her mother that she probably could have learned earlier, saved herself some hassle, but, you know, mom had secrets, lots and lots of secrets, and we're going to learn about those, and we're going to see her in different lights, hopefully. So that's going to be fun. At least it's been fun to write.
I bet. Interesting. Yeah, your series does sound pretty interesting. You said it's YA, right?
Yeah, it's YA fantasy.
Nice. But that's my favorite, YA fantasy. That's like mostly what I read and write and everything.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. Yeah, sounds good. For anyone who's in the chats, I wanted to say before I forgot, because I will forget, that in the description to this live, I have Alyssa's Amazon page, so you can find her books. I have her Twitter and her link tree.
Yeah.
So you can go on there, follow her, and check out her books if this sounds like something you guys are into, because it does sound very interesting, and I kind of want to know what happens, and I haven't even read it yet. Yeah, your series sounds good. So do you have like a release date yet for book 3?
No, I have to finish writing it first, then I'll probably be able to answer that question.
Yeah, do you know
I'm
if you're
hoping later this year, unless something catastrophic happens, but it should be out sometime this year, I would think, at my current pace. But we'll see.
Do you know like how far in it you're at? Like halfway, over halfway?
I would say about 60% done with it.
Not bad, not bad. Over
Yeah.
halfway. You're making good progress.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to say about your book series?
No, but I mean, I have a section I can read if you want me to.
Go ahead.
Yeah, cool. So this is the start of chapter 5 of book 1. A bit of context. Serafina has just accidentally unlocked a magical door, and now she's kind of trapped inside. So, episode 5, Death Spiders. The first thing I did was try the doorknob. To my complete and utter lack of surprise, it wouldn't budge any more from this side than it had from the other one. I pounded on the door loudly with my fist. "It's not opening," I yelled, not sure if they could hear me. I pressed my ear to the door and heard what sounded like jumbled yelling and panic. I pounded on the door again. "We're getting help. Stay put." That sounded like Fethris. "Stay put. I'm locked in. Where am I going to go?" I stepped back. This is not happening. This is not happening. I kicked the door once more out of a desired event, then any delusion it would actually help at this point. "You should start running." A voice spoke behind me. Oh, hells no. I turned around to find myself face to face with a ghost. A girl in a red uniform. Her face was obscured and her whole body transparent. She flickered with a pale blue light that emanated off of her. "Who are you?" I demanded, startled. Though perhaps what was the better question. She stared at me. You can see me," she gasped in shock. Later, she glanced down, away from me. Was she talking to herself? She glanced up at me. I still couldn't see her features clearly, and she added a layer of urgency to her voice. "Run. You need to run." "Run? Run where? I'm locked in." "The door will open, eventually. But you have more immediate problems." I was about to ask when I heard the hissing. "Good luck. You're going to need it." And then she was gone. Out of the darkness, barely visible to me, was the outline of massive gray spiders. Dozens of them, all slowly encroaching on my space. Some of them had their front legs reared up as they hissed loudly. Nope. And I'm going to end it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That ghost was red, by the way.
Ah. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounded interesting. Those locked in scenarios are always so intense.
Always.
It's been a lot of fun. Is there anything else you want to say before we get off? Because we finished the questions and you read a part. Is there anything else you want to say?
I think I'm good, unless you have like other questions or things you want me to elaborate on or something. I think I'm good.
All right. Awesome. It was so nice to have you on. I'm so glad you took it.
It was nice to be here. This is lots of fun.
Yeah, I mean, maybe someday you can come back on. If you ever want to come back on, just shoot me a message.
Hey, absolutely. I write full time, so I'm pretty much home all the time. So it would not be hard for me to find time in my schedule to do more of these if you wanted.
Yeah, I mean, maybe when you're on one of your later books in the series, we can talk more about your series and
Yeah.
update how the books are going.
Yeah.
Well, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah. This was wonderful. I'm happy I'm here. Happy to be here.
So just to remind everyone, her Amazon page, her Twitter, and her Linktree are all linked in the description. If you guys want to follow her and check out her books, it sounds really interesting. I recommend everyone checking her out. And I will be back in a week for another author interview with another indie author. So that'll be fun. Until next time, thank you for joining.
Yeah. Thank you all for being here. This was awesome.